I am fascinated by America. Um, when I say America, I don't just mean the country and the wealth. I am fascinated by the idea of America. See, most of the countries in the world, at least the big countries, they always existed. I mean, uh, maybe the name changed or the border changed, but the people and the land was there. See, America is the only or the only bespoke, custom-made country in the world. America was founded 400 years ago in a mostly depopulated land continent. Now, I'm going to talk about the depopulation and genocide of the Native Americans, but for the moment, let's ignore that inconvenient truth. Let's assume that America was mostly unpopulated and it's an immense tract of land protected by two mighty sea, huge amount of natural resources, mighty rivers, tall mountains, vast prairies, miles and miles of arable fertile land, mines, anything you can think of, it's all there. And that piece of land was populated by people who were persecuted out of their homes from Europe, people of religious minority, people of poor people, um, people who belonged to the lowest strata of the feudal system. They were driven out of their home and they were forced to migrate to this new country. And they built this country from scratch with their bare hands, right? So that's how America was built by, as I said, almost an empty land, populated by hardworking, persecuted people who understood the value of labor, who understood what it means to be persecuted and driven out of their home. So when they came to this land, they made sure that none of that regressive ideas that they faced back home should be brought in here. So there was no religious persecution, division by class. There was no king, no baron. Everybody was equal, and you were only worth your labor and how much wealth you can produce. And again, that's probably the only time in history that happened. Of course, there were anomalies. I mean, it's not all utopia, but it's pretty much like that. That's how America was founded from 1600 till the American Revolution. Then the came American Revolution, and that's one of the most amazing thing ever to happen in human history. I mean, the colonists threw out a regressive tyrannical monarchy from their land and built a republic. And and what an amazing foundation that was, founded by philosophers. How many countries founded by philosophers? None. And what amazing ideas they brought in while building this country, and how beautiful that was. If you read the founding documents of America, they are so beautiful. I mean, I couldn't imagine a political document can be so beautiful that it gives you goosebumps when you read them aloud. And as I said, it is founded by philosophers, and they became the president. I mean, Thomas Jefferson, one of the most best thinkers of our time, he became the second president of America. So you can think about what kind of a country that they built and what kind of an ideas they imbibed into this project. So they built this idea of equality and justice, and they made sure that it's not something that stays in the book. They made sure that these are practiced on a daily basis. So this idea of justice, equality, pursuit of happiness became the DNA of America. American people couldn't even imagine that men couldn't be equal. I mean, when I'm driving to George Washington Bridge and I saw a homeless guy infected with AIDS, with lesions all over his body, and I think that that man and Bill Gates, American people cannot imagine that they are different. That's how the idea of equality is inbuilt in America. By definition, every man equal. In other countries, we this is a concept. We try to achieve that. We try to strive to achieve equality of men. In America, that's normal. Anything else is abnormal, anomaly. So that's, as I said, that's how the idea of all these great ideas was inbuilt in American society. And then the idea of justice. There is a saying in America that no matter how big you are, law is above you. Law is bigger than you. And that is, again, that's not a statement. That is not an abstract concept. That is practiced in every single moment in America. So the lowest level of lieutenant not only knows that he is empowered, he he acts in a way that he is empowered. That no matter who you are, maybe a cardinal or a prince or a general or a CEO of a company, you commit a crime, he will go grab you by your collar, bring it to the nearest police station for you to face justice. And that's not a story. It happens every single day in America. And I'll give you one anecdote. See, in some years ago, there was this the president of World Bank. He was a Frenchman, some name Dominic something. I don't know what name. So he was flying back from America, from New York to Paris, and his plane was taxiing out towards the runway. And then a janitor in the hotel where he was staying, she complained to the police. And she is a Ghanaian black woman, right? She complained to the police that this man has raped me. And the policeman goes there into the runway, stops the plane, grabs that man from the plane, drags him to the police station to face justice. And this lady, she is an illegal immigrant from Ghana, and she's a janitor in that hotel. Not that this guy had violently raped her or anything. No, they had a consensual sex. And whatever agreement they had, it fell apart and the guy disappeared. And she complained to the police. Think about it. She's a janitor, a black woman, illegal immigrant from Ghana, and this guy is from France, Paris, and he is the president of World Bank. And he's flying out in first class back to France, and he gets nabbed by the policeman, dragged to the airport, to the police station to face justice. And this is not an exception. If you see all these CEOs, Jeffrey Epstein, Barney Madoff, Kenneth Lay, they are multi billionaires. But if you commit a crime in America, you will face justice. That's what the concept of justice is in America. And I add that to that, absolute, total, constitutionally guaranteed free press. Citizens' rights, constitutionally backed rights to bear arms, and trial by jury. And you have the perfect recipe of freedom anywhere in the world. No leader in America, who he is, and whatever tyrannical bent that he may have, be it Trump or Nixon or whoever, cannot grab 1 ounce of extra power than they are allotted. Doesn't matter what their craving is. They are capped by the power given by the Constitution. And that is ensured by all these structures that's built in America. And that's, as I said, that's what makes America such an amazing country. But then that brings the question that if I am so fascinated by the idea of America, why do I hate it so much? I actually I actually absolutely hate America, and it's not just now. I hated America ever since I grew up and learned about the world. And I just when I was trying to migrate to America in 1994 95, I really tried hard to convince myself that, look, you like ideas. I mean, here is such an amazing idea, such a great idea. Why wouldn't I like it? And I tried. I really tried. I thought I will just go there and sleep on the foot of Lady Liberty as the idea of liberty. But as soon as I set foot on there, and I just felt repulsed by the land. And I don't know why. And that repulsion never left me. And I try to explain what could be the reason. And of course, I mean, that one obvious reason is jealousy, right? I mean, America is such a great country, it's big, powerful, and it's all over the place. Um, Prosperous, powerful, rich country, and I just probably cannot tolerate that. Why should they be so rich, so powerful, so prosperous? And that's definitely an element to that, and the way America dominates the world, and that somewhat repulses me. Another thing is, as I was just stopped there right there, about the violence that America practices from the beginning, the way the country was founded by exterminating the native population, by performing genocide, depopulating the land, removing them, and then bringing in slaves. And that didn't stop, that violence didn't stop there, and it continued throughout the history, about against the black people, against native people, against everybody. And then that, as America became more an imperialist power, it continued all over the world, and they, as I said, did violent acts all over the world, in Vietnam, in Philippines, um, in Hawaii, in Iraq, and everywhere, right? And it just doesn't stop. It keeps on going. So, and I'm a peace-loving guy, and I just cannot digest that level of violence. And there are other countries in the world. It's America is not unique. There are other countries in the world. I mean, they do much more brute, what do you call, crude violence, like in Belgium or France. I mean, this is just disgusting. The thing is that they are not so well known. No, I mean, how many people know about the violence that Belgian people did in Africa, or the French people did? And probably the scope is limited because their power is limited. So it probably is not that so evident. So that's one more reason. But I think that the main reason that I detest and loathe America is because America killed the dream that I had. I mean, see, when I grew up, I had two conflicting, very clear ideology of capitalism, free market, private ownership, and then I had socialism. And I don't know, because we were poor, because we didn't have anything, we tended towards socialism. And I thought that's a good idea. I mean, of course, there may be flaws, there may be maybe things that needs to be improved, but I thought that was a good idea. And those projects that actually tried to implement those ideas in Russia, in China, in Vietnam, in Cuba, not all of them did go well. Some of them did not go so well in Russia and China, but some of them did go very well, right? In Vietnam and in Cuba, in particular in Cuba, right? So, so it was worthwhile to allow those projects to go ahead and see whether it achieves the ideas that was imbibed in socialism, about abolishing private ownership, about um, practicing your ideas as human being rather than pursuing wealth creation alone, right? And as I said, because we didn't have any wealth probably, and we had only our brain, it appealed me a lot. And I thought it's not the idea worth pursuing. And world was pursuing that idea in some way. And America terminated that concept forcefully, precipitously, not as a debate of the ideas, by proving that free market capitalism, private ownership is better than socialism and state ownership and intellectualism, the way we thought that the world should evolve. They did not resolve that dispute through debate, but they precipitously ended that project because they had more money, they had bigger guns, and said, just that's it. I will dictate our ideas on the whole world, and that idea is destroyed. And this whole projects collapsed. Of course, Cuba and Vietnam still survives, but Russia and China is pretty much gone. There's no socialistic idea there anymore left. And nobody's even talking even intellectually in the realm of ideas about socialism anymore. So that childhood dream and utopia that I had in my head, it's completely gone. So when I die, there will be absolutely no hope that the world is moving towards that idea. And I am not convinced, although I have doubts in both ways. I am not convinced either way, but I am not convinced that that's definitely a bad idea and it will not lead to human happiness. And I am also not equally convinced that free market capitalism and private ownership is the only idea, and that our life amounts to amassing wealth more and more, and that only leads to happiness. I'm not convinced at all. And in fact, I have a lot more doubt the later one than the former one. So because they stole that idea, they destroyed my whole concept of what I am and what I want to strive and achieve. I believe that's one of the reasons why I could never forgive this American state, American government, and this whole idea of, as I said, not idea of free market capitalism and individual ownership. No, that idea may be good, but the way that is asserted all over the world and saying, and every other idea is stifled by power, by force, not by debate. That's something that really really hurts me, and that's why I feel that's why I never been able to forgive America and the concept of America. Anyway, that was a long post. Thanks for watching. I hope I could explain the point of view that I wanted to explain. Thanks a lot. Bye.